That's the reason why I can tell you with utmost confidence that as we leave here tomorrow morning, as we converge here tomorrow morning, Cyril will be announced as the president of the ANC for a second term. Phala Phala is unfortunate, and the president must be held to account. I support that view, but he must be held to account in a proper way. I don't know whether you guys had an opportunity to read the report by the independent panel. I had an opportunity to read it. I went through it twice. I've got a doctor in laws, and I read the report. Let me tell you, it's the most flimsiest report I've ever read in my whole life. And if you can attribute it to a former Chief Justice and two senior counsels, that is just surreal. It's disappointing.
Do you think it was politically motivated?
It's disappointing. The body of the report and the conclusion of the report, they contradict each other. Report which is riddled by grammatic errors, hastily done. It's quite disappointing. Even to have a name of a former Chief Justice attached to that report. It's seriously disappointing. That's the least I can say. In the report, they suggest that Mustafa Hazi, the man who's alleged to have bought the buffaloes from the president's farm, does not exist. That's what they suggest. That's the reason why they say the origins of the money cannot be established. Just a scratch of the surface. An international media house goes to Mustafa Hazim's house, interviewed him. They could establish where the man is, spoke to him. I came to South Africa. I had $600,000, which were properly recorded with the authorities in South Africa. That's what he says. But the report creates an impression that it does not exist. The report, if you read the parliamentary rules, they say we need sufficient evidence. They should establish whether there is sufficient evidence to kickstart the impeachment process. Instead of looking for sufficient evidence, which they acknowledge they don't have, they introduce a new standard, which is prima facie, which is by far lower than sufficient evidence. You can't believe, I don't believe Chief Justice, former Chief Justice, has got anything to do with that report. Let me be honest with you. The reason why I don't believe that, simply because with my doctoral thesis, I worked on a doctrinal approach of the Constitutional Court, which is called meaningful engagement during evictions. And that doctrinal piece, Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice contributed significantly in formulating it. And I read almost all his judgments on meaningful engagement during illegal evictions. I can't see any reconciliation between this report and him. So there's a serious problem here, and at some point we'll have to investigate how this three-member panel was appointed. I suspect it were appointed in a very dubious way. Let me give you an example. They are close association with people who wants to see Cyril losing his position as the president. Cast serious suspicions on them. Chief Justice Ngobo, at the end of his term, unconstitutionally, the former president Jacob Zuma extended his term. I'm sure you know about this. Unconstitutionally. He had to withdraw from that after having almost accepted, the extension of his term, which was unconstitutional. All the jurists, all the scholars in this country were saying this is unconstitutional. The two senior counsel, their association with people who don't want to see President continuing with his term is so suspicious, so suspicious. Working with Dali, working with Advocate Dali Mpofu, representing Isma Khashule and all of them. So the appointment of the panel, I don't know how it was appointed, who took the decision to have them there, but the appointment of the panel makes it very dubious. And worse, the kind of report that they have produced for me, it's just surreal. It's unbelievable that you can have seasoned legal practitioners in this country that can produce a report of that nature, which is even read by grammatic errors. So I can't attribute that report. You know, all other provinces in the country nominated Cyril to come back as the president. It's only Kwazulu Natal that did not nominate him. And that in itself did irreparable damage to the campaign of Zweli Mkhize to become the president. Because even those who would have sympathized with them, they found their behavior completely unacceptable, incorrigible, and treating an incumbent, a sitting president, like that. So it worked in favor of Cyril. But Cyril also played a very important leadership role during that moment. Did not get upset, did not get worked up by that behavior, focus on the task at hand. Those are extraordinary leadership qualities.
That private prosecution thing that is coming to play now, is that likely to dominate the upcoming sessions?
That private prosecution is a nonsense. That is absolute nonsense. Because a first-year student will tell you that in order for anybody to privately prosecute an individual, you need a certificate from the NPA, which is nolle prosequi. There is no such certificate issued by the NPA with regard to Cyril Ramaphosa. So there is no investigation which was taken by the NPA on the basis of which they say they are not going to prosecute. So where does private prosecution come from?
They've released the Jacob Zuma Foundation via Zamani,
yes,
a certificate which says any person connected to the issue.
Any lawyer that have given them that advice, let me tell you, it's an imbecile of a lawyer. That's diversionary tactics. Ace was the leader of the ANC. In the Free State, he was a provincial secretary, became the provincial chair, just like myself. We know that it's very difficult to rig electoral processes of the ANC because provincial leaders becomes part and parcel of the elections committee. During counting, they are there. They are observers, actively observing the process. So there is no space of rigging the process. So that's a diversionary tactic. He knows he's not a factor for this conference, and he knows it very well that Comrade Cyril is well on his way to get his second term to lead this organization. The president is a president of a country. The president is a president of the country. How can he cave in so easily to such a nonsense report? President cave in so easily. It can't happen. It happens nowhere in the world. In established democracy, it does not happen.
Is that what you told him?
Such a nonsense report. You cave in as a president. That's what I told him. There's absolutely no way that he can do that.